Please, no! Help me! Ah! Ah! No! Ah! Oh! 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 Help me! Help me! No! No! Oh! Oh! No! Oh, God, help me! Please, no! Where are you? Help!
A frozen land at 71 degrees Celsius does not forgive hesitation, and in that place, time no longer moves in hours or minutes, but in breaths, in the fragile pause between one heartbeat and the next. And on that night every single breath mattered, because an old woman stood at the edge of survival with a body already worn down long before the storm arrived. Her hands shaking not only from the cold, but from age, illness, and exhaustion. While the wind showed no mercy and the ice offered no second chances. And the silence itself felt heavier than the snow, because in the polar cold silence means something is watching, waiting, measuring weakness. She did what she could to endure, lighting a fire, moving slowly inside the fragile wooden cabin, cooking with trembling hands, coughing softly, never violently, never dramatically, just the quiet kind of suffering that belongs to old age, the kind that rarely draws attention and often ends unnoticed, the kind that usually disappears into the snow without a trace. And outside that cabin, the storm carried more than wind and frost. It carried movement, distant shapes, patient predators that did not rush or snarl at first, but simply waited, because in a place like this, predators do not need speed, only time. And then, against every rule of logic, something else appeared. Not a miracle, not a legend, but a living polar bear standing in the same storm that was breaking her down. Massive, silent, unmoving, watching without attacking and without leaving. And fear ruled everything at first, as it always does. Fear of teeth, fear of strength, fear of the unknown standing just meters away. Fear shaped by everything humans believe about nature, yet slowly, painfully slowly, fear gave way to something far rarer, trust, born not from words or gestures, but from stillness, from the bear's refusal to act, from its presence through the long night as the storm screamed around them both. And when the wolves finally closed in, when shadows circled closer and the night pressed tighter, when the woman collapsed into the snow and could not rise again, it was not human hands that stood between her and the end, but fur and muscle and instinct, as the polar bear roared not in hunger but in defense. The fight exploding into chaos, with snow bursting upward and bodies colliding in the dark. No heroic poses, no clean victory, just survival, tearing at survival, until the wolves fled back into the endless white, and something impossible remained behind. The woman was still alive, barely, her body finally surrendering where her will had already been stretched too far, unconscious in a cold that allows no mistakes. And logic said this was the end, because no one survives that kind of cold without awareness. Yet she did not die, because the polar bear stayed, curling beside her, blocking the wind, sharing warmth, breathing slowly and steadily through the long hours of darkness, as if guarding not just a body, but a fragile promise. And when she woke, fear returned first, as it always does. Panic rising in her chest, as she realized she was not alone. But then she saw the truth. Not teeth and not threat, just presence, protection, another living being refusing to leave her behind. And before she could even understand what that meant, another sound cut through the storm, thin and desperate, echoing across the tundra. A cry no mother ignores, whether human or animal. A cub, trapped in a snow pit nearby, trembling, helpless, abandoned by chance, not choice. And what followed was not strength alone, but desperation turned into action, as an old woman barely able to stand, searched the frozen ground, with shaking hands, falling, rising, falling again, searching until her fingers found a length of rope stiff with ice, a simple, useless object, until the moment it became everything. And together human and polar bear pulled life back from the edge inch by inch, with no rush and no mistakes, because one mistake here still meant everything. Wolves returning to test weakness, danger never fully leaving. The woman screaming silently inside while her hands worked, and when the cub finally emerged alive and clinging, crying against its mother's fur, the storm did not stop and the cold did not retreat, but the world felt less empty, less cruel, as if something unseen had shifted, and inside the cabin, warmth returned not only from fire, but from purpose, as food was prepared slowly, painfully, shared quietly, gently, not stolen or fought over, but offered. A plate placed in the snow, another beside the stove, small acts that meant survival, and even sickness could not erase that fragile bond, as the woman coughed and struggled to breathe, her body reminding her of its limits, while outside the polar bear watched, and inside, the cub slept wrapped in cloth. And for the first time since the storm began, the night felt survivable, because this was never a story about winning or conquering nature. It was a story about endurance, about choosing not to abandon, about what happens when in the coldest place imaginable, where nature is supposed to be merciless, a line is crossed not between predator and prey, but between living beings who recognize vulnerability in each other. And when dawn finally threatened the horizon, pale and weak, it revealed no triumph, no glory, only footprints in the snow leading nowhere special, and a cabin still standing, holding inside it proof that even at 71 degrees Celsius, even when the body is failing, even when the world seems determined to erase you, survival can arrive in a form you never expected. And sometimes, against every rule you thought you knew, it refuses to let go. This video is a completely fictional and emotional short film created by me. It does not intend to harm animals. All scenes are entirely artistic storytelling created through imagination. Sounds or visuals have been largely edited or digitally produced. This video is fictional and not real.